Have you ever seen fines stack up so fast they destroyed someone's property? I was in college when this happened, living in a busy city where rent was high and landlords seemed to think tenants should just accept anything. Most buildings around campus were concrete apartment blocks, but the place I rented was a room inside an old wooden house. When I toured it, everything looked fine. The room was small but comfortable. The common areas were big. The roommates were friendly, one of them being the landlord's daughter, and best of all, they let me bring my cat without any massive deposit. 2 weeks after moving in, though, things started feeling off. My allergies flared up in a way I wasn't used to. I assumed it was seasonal and didn't think much about it, but as the weeks passed, the symptoms got worse. I also began noticing weird repairs around the house. The sink pipes were wrapped in duct tape, the bathtub had a crack patched with something that looked like glue, and a few walls looked like they'd been hastily painted over. Then my cat started acting strange. She'd bump into furniture, twitch, and seem disoriented. I took her to the vet, and he suggested it could be from ingesting mold. That hit hard. Suddenly, all my symptoms made sense. I didn't want her anywhere near that environment anymore, so I asked a friend to watch her while I searched the house for the source. I remembered the sketchy work done around the tub, so I removed the small piece of wood covering the gap between the raised tub and the floor. Underneath, the entire area was covered in thick black fuzz. I put the board back immediately and checked under the sink next. At first glance, it looked like old water damage, but when I shined a light through a small hole in the back, I saw the same black growth covering everything. The longer I searched, the more my eyes watered. It was everywhere. I told my roommate, and she called her dad, the landlord. He brushed it off, said it wasn't serious, and promised to look at it when he had time. A week went by with nothing done. I called him myself, and he insisted that a professional told him it didn't sound like mold. His solution was to keep it covered. I was upset and had no idea how to handle it. I didn't want to bring my cat back, but I had no other place to stay. After researching tenant laws, I learned that in my area, landlords are required to address mold hazards. Even if it wasn't written in the lease, it was legally his responsibility. I told him I'd be withholding rent until he sent someone to inspect the place. He laughed and said I couldn't do that, and that he wouldn't allow me to break the lease early. At that point, I knew talking wouldn't work. Instead, I filed a report with the city. Within 3 days, a municipal inspector came out. He checked every corner of the house, every crawl space, every appliance, and every room. He was there for nearly 2 hours. When he finished, he told me the situation was far worse than anything I had seen. The mold had spread through walls, floors, and structural spaces due to years of moisture buildup and poor ventilation. The entire house needed major work, and I wouldn't be able to stay there during the repairs. But that wasn't the only problem. He found more than a dozen code and permit violations, serious ones. Each carried daily fines, if not corrected by a deadline. The inspector sent a formal report to the landlord. Not long after, I received an angry call from him demanding to know why I had gotten the city involved. He insisted he had planned to look at it that weekend, as if that changed anything. I calmly told him that based on the inspector's findings, the home was legally uninhabitable, and I was allowed to leave immediately. He barked that I couldn't break the lease. I told him he could take me to court if he disagreed. I moved out that day with help from friends and stayed temporarily with the friend watching my cat. Luckily, I found a new place quickly, much cleaner, much safer, and run by people who actually cared about the property. I kept in touch with one of the other tenants from the old house. She told me the landlord ignored the inspector's report and even tried to rent out my room again. The city had given him 1 month to fix all violations before fines started building. He didn't take it seriously. 5 weeks later, he started receiving letters detailing the fines, daily penalties for every unresolved violation, some exceeding $1,000 per day. The amount kept climbing. Eventually, he scrambled to get everything fixed, but it was far too late. Between the mold remediation and the mountain of fines, the total shot past $50,000, and he had to remove all remaining tenants from the house. A few months after that, I saw the house listed for sale.